Ginger is cranky. We replaced the battery in this. It was an Octember fail. And it's not the battery. So the story goes like this. The whiff had a vacation. And she said, fuck it. I'm not doing anything. And she did nothing. In other words, she didn't take the car out, is what I mean. She did stuff, but she didn't go anywhere. So the car sat for possibly upwards of 11 days. It never sits more than a day or two. Okay, so now the plot thickens, okay? This has a persistent check engine light. We went through this with the disaster last year. I think I had a video on it and how the brakes in the back had to be done again, even though they were done, and all the other fun stuff. So I reset the computer yesterday morning. She leaves in the evening. So yesterday morning I check it. It's got the same codes it always has. I reset it. Everything's good. I say drive normally. If the light happens to come on, make a note of where in the trip and when, so we can get an idea how many miles you went and that. So she goes to leave for work, 5 o'clock. Comes back to the door a minute later. She says the car won't start. What do you mean? So I come out here, and I get in, and I turn the key. And it cranks, but it sounded funny. It sounded really weird. I can't exactly put my finger on it. About the best explanation I have is if you remember the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, where they go to Wally World, and finally they get there and the park's closed, and there's Marty Moose there, and he presses a button, sorry folks, park's closed for 2 weeks, etc. And then he gets pissed and he punches Marty in the nose, and then you hear the same recording, but it's all fucked up. Sorry folks, park's closed.
Clark, what are you doing?
We watch this program.
That's what it sounded like when I cranked it. It was really strange. Well, anyway, I'll fast forward with the story, and then we'll get on with this more and what possible theories I have are. So it was cranking weird, and I tried it 2 or 3 times, and it was just weird each time. So then, out of nowhere, I got the idea, what if I floor the gas pedal? Now, that will clear a flooded engine. And yes, it does work on fuel-injected engines, such as this. It tells the computer, because the engine's not running, that it likely is flooded, and it goes into flood recovery mode or something of that nature. I don't know what the terminology is. So I go to do that, and it's cranking, but it's sounding weird, and now that I have my foot to the floor, it actually popped and farted a couple times. And the cranking is now sounding a little more normal, a little more normal, a little more normal as it goes on. And eventually even the oil light went out, which means it built oil pressure. That's good. So I tried it again, more popping and farting, and it actually fired for half a second and stalled immediately. Turn the key again, nothing. Floor it again, crank it more and more, and it's popping and farting, popping and farting, popping and farting, and finally, vroom, roars to life. And it runs fine. Nothing wrong, no odd sounds, nothing wrong at all, etc. And I'm going to burst your bubble now. We're not going to start it probably, but that may change later, we'll see. Because of the inspection thing, we'll get into that later. So anyways, 2 theories as to why this could happen. Not enough fuel or too much fuel. So not enough fuel could mean possibly a stuck fuel pump where it didn't want to run. And I did shut the door and turn the key on, and I couldn't really hear if it did. In old Cranky I could hear it, but I guess I just got a lot older now and I can't hear the really quiet stuff. I don't know. So there is the theory that the fuel pump didn't run or wasn't running, and then after it's getting the signal, because all the cranking and cranking, it's like a fan that kind of spins really slow, and you leave it, and then finally like breaks free and builds up speed and it runs. There's that theory. Then the whiff tells me she went out to the car like normal. She put the key in, turned the key to start, and it went crank, 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 stop. But she's still holding the key in the start position. I don't know how much I believe that, but then, based on the fact of the popping and farting like that, it definitely could have been flooded. And flooded to such a degree that one or more of the fuel injectors, this being a 6-cylinder, because it tells you right there, that possibly it actually, quote-unquote, hydrolocked, and that's why it stopped cranking. But then why did it magically work a minute later when I got out here? I don't know. So it was really, really strange on that, and I can't really answer that. But considering with the battery, when she said the car said da-da-da-da-da-da-da, which was actually a buzzing sound of the starter not having enough power because the battery was dead, da-da-da-da-da-da-da does not sound like or anything like that, which is what it was doing. So I don't know how much I can actually believe that, but based on the way it finally started, maybe it did happen that way. And why it cleared enough for me to be able to crank it even though it wasn't normal sounding. Maybe it still had too much fuel in the cylinders or a cylinder, I don't know. And it was trying to work past that. And because it has a rubber timing belt, perhaps there was just enough leeway in there that it was able to just stretch to get past that. Just enough. I don't know. I'm shooting in the dark here. And that's why I was able to finally clear it, because she didn't try it again after that first time. She just said, okay, I'm done. So I don't know. So one other thing is, while cranking it, and it's cranking and it's popping and farting, I did see the check engine light flash, so I don't know if it logged an error code on that. I want to check that first. So let's go and do that. So I will tell you that when it finally fired up, it did not have a check engine light on, but that doesn't mean that it didn't store a code. So we'll read codes. I'm pretty sure it has none. Yeah, it has no fault codes. Okay, great. That doesn't tell us anything. It's exactly what I expected. So the more I think about it, the more silly it sounds if I don't actually start it. My other plan was to put the metal key in, which will keep the immobilizing the engine, so it'll crank but not fire. And the only reason I wanted to do that is because of the impending inspection, and I don't want to ruin my chances of anything. But then again, it might actually be good to start it up and see how it runs and leave it run and idle for a while and get up to temperature. And a quick note on that, for those of you who go out and do a cold start when it's minus 18 degrees out, and you turn the key and it's and then it starts, and you're like, okay, it started, there you go, in a minute and 18 seconds. And then what do you do after that? Well, you're fucking cold, so you shut it off, go in the house. Bad idea. Don't do that. Let the engine get up to operating temperature before you shut it off. Anytime I do that and start an engine for any reason that is cold, I let it run until it gets some heat into it like that. I just think it's better for everything like that, and that is really why. I don't have any other real explanation for that. So I think we're going to go ahead and actually just crank it up and see how it sounds. I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to start perfectly normally. So I guess nothing more to do but to give it a shot, and then we'll talk more. it started, and it's running like a sewing machine. That's all I would have expected. You know, what else? So it was just cranky. Why and how? I don't know. That was a really, really odd thing. I cannot explain it at all. The only difference is it sat for a while. Now, why it kind of sputtered to life? Yesterday, I did commit the sin of not letting it get up to operating temperature. Maybe it didn't like that, or maybe it's been doing that and she doesn't know any different and doesn't tell me nothing. Because it runs, so it's good, right? You know? I don't know. But it's running and everything is perfectly fine, so I just stand around, let it warm up and do its thing. This also, probably by this point, kind of rules out the fact that it might have been a bad or stuck fuel pump, or maybe it was just stuck from sitting, and it got really cold during that time also. That didn't, you know, help anything. It may not have hurt anything, but it certainly didn't help anything. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But we'll let this warm up for a while. Just because she smokes doesn't mean she broke. Exhaust sounds completely normal. All cylinders are firing without any issue whatsoever. And so the verdict is, I don't know. Runs fine. No trouble at all. She was just cranky. I'm tending to lean more toward a leaky injector, and it sat for so long. Now, also remember that before Ginger was called into service, it sat, and it could sit for 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time. In fact, at one point it sat because we had so much snow one of those years back then that I didn't probably go back to it for a month. So, I don't know. I'm totally confused as to why this occurred to begin with and why it just magically works now, except that it was flooded. I can't come up with any other possible explanation. If it were a fuel pump issue, perhaps that's looming and it was stuck and now it cleared itself, and because it's only the next day now, it's okay. But obviously it's been running all this time, so fuel pump's got to be working. Would have stalled long ago. I'm very, very confused. I don't know. That was really, really strange. Really, really weird. But everything is running just fine. It's just about up to operating temperature, so I'll stand out here for another 5 minutes and let it do its thing. And in a couple of days, I'll take it around the block a couple times, make sure there's no drivability issues, and then we're going to drive it and see if we get all the readiness monitors, except for one, back online to get it inspected before the check engine light comes back. I have to do that this year and next, and I think after that in 2028, I'm in the clear. The law here states that any vehicle 25 model years or older is exempt from emissions. That's a little touchy because does it go by the date of manufacture of the vehicle or just calendar year? We don't know. But this being a 2003, 2028 minus 2003 is 25. That would make this 25 model years or older. It's not older, it is 25, but that's stipulated. So hopefully after next year, it won't need emissions testing any longer. But we'll have to play that by ear and see. I'll ask the guy when I do take it for inspection and see what he says on that. I guess it's really up to what the computer wants to say at that point. And we'll see, so I might have to play the game again, but whatever. It's running, it's doing its thing, everything's good. She's idling normal, turning, I don't know, about 700 and something RPM. Nice smooth idle, smooth running, quiet little sewing machine. Very, very, very peculiar. Anyway, I don't know if that's resolved, but it's definitely different than what it was doing yesterday, so that's good enough for junkyard digs. It's going to have to be good enough for now. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe. If I do end up having more trouble with inspection and bullshit like that, there'll be a video, but if you don't see anything like that, then everything went just fine. Alright, ring the bell for Arbley's. Thanks once again. I appreciate all of you very much. And take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.